Let's go ahead and talk about these WNBA playoffs and the playoff games that happened over the week. Not over the weekend, excuse me, yesterday. Now, I've been saying this from the mountaintops. I'm going to preach it till the day I die. These WNBA playoff games should not be happening at around the same time that the NFL is going on. Because I guarantee you that nobody, I kid you not, nobody, unless they are a WNBA follower like me now, knows that Sabrina Ionescu just broke the Liberty record and tied the Liberty record for most points scored in a postseason game for the Liberty. She's ended the game with 36 points and also ended with 9 assists as well. This is the most points that any Liberty player has scored in a playoff game, and the fact that it was an elimination game just makes it even more impressive. But guess what? Nobody's talking about that because all the other sports, ESPN, Bleacher Report, everything else, they're all talking about the NFL because the NFL draws more attention. Not to mention they're also talking about college football because it also draws more attention. So let me ask you, what on earth are you doing starting these postseasons in the same time as the NFL? She ended the game with 36 points, but no one's going to talk about that because people would rather talk about Bryce Young being benched or Malik Neighbors going off in the NFL. It's like all of these things are happening in the NFL, but all of these things are happening in the WNBA. They aren't getting covered because it's at the same time as the NFL. So this season, the playoffs for the WNBA, they should start on August. And I know that the Olympics happened around that time as well, and that also interfered with a lot of the WNBA schedules, but these playoff games should only happen in August, especially in this type of season. This is the most successful season that the WNBA has had in the history of its entire conviction. This is the first time that the WNBA is actually drawing viewership, and they're blowing it in the most important part of their season. They're absolutely blowing it, and I guarantee you nobody is going to remember who won the WNBA finals. I guarantee you. Guarantee you. And no one is going to remember this amazing, outstanding performance from Sabrina. No one is going to remember that. But regardless, back to the recap and what I was saying. The Liberty, they ended up winning 91-82 against the Atlanta Dream. The Dream did not make it easy, though. They were fighting back a lot in this game, and they started out the game with honestly a rather respectable lead. I believe they were up by the score was 28-19 going into the first quarter, like ending the first quarter. Atlanta was up by almost 10 points, and it seemed like the Liberty, they ended up going on a bit of a run in the second quarter. And the big problem for the Liberty was in this game specifically was that they weren't really hitting that many three-pointers. Like, they were going on a lot of cold streaks at the three-point line. There was a time where they went 0 for 7, then Sabrina broke the streak by hitting a 3, and then right after that they went 0 for 5 again, and then it took another Liberty player to end up breaking that streak. So it was rather shaky three-point shooting that allowed the Atlanta Dream to sort of stay in the game longer than normally expected. But after the second half, after the first half, after the first half and the team made their adjustments, it seemed that the Liberty were getting back on track. Sabrina limited her three-point shot selection. Like, she ended up taking, I believe, 2 three-pointers in the entire second half of that game and focused more on, attacking the basket and taking a lot higher percentage shots. And it ultimately ended up working out for her, obviously. Ended the game with 36 points. Like, what better of an elimination performance were you expecting? And Brenna Stewart was a little bit quiet in this matchup. She ended up going 6 for 16 from the field, only scoring 13 points. She got blocked on a very bad layup attempt down the court that I remember, and I was like, what in the world are you doing? But aside from that, I mean, the Liberty, they did what they had to do. This is a team that couldn't face adversity in the last finals appearance that they were in. It's known that they ended up losing in the finals because A'ja Wilson was just being A'ja Wilson and just completely dominated them. And it seemed like in that finals, like the year before, they didn't know how to handle the pressure. But now it seems like they've sort of gotten new life and they're willing to make that final push to finally win the finals in the WNBA and actually legitimately close out this series. And they've done that very well. So really no surprises here on this kind of performance. So Round one, the Liberty end up moving on in a sweep. And then there's the other game that ended up happening directly after the Liberty game, which was the Aces going up against the Seattle Storm. Now, the Aces, like, from the start of the game, like, it seemed like the Aces, they were clear-cut the better team. There were moments where the scoring was a little bit lackluster, but the Aces were able to keep Seattle in check thanks to their defense, and they were able to hold it off long enough for them to come out with a win. And so the Aces end up advancing to the semifinals as well. They're going to face off against the Liberty in the next round in a best-of-5 series, and after winning 83-76 against the Seattle Storm. So a lot of people think that, Seattle should keep their head high, because they did play rather well in this elimination game. It's just the Aces were a far better team. They had Gabby Williams that ended up scoring 20 points for them in this elimination game. They had a guard named Skylar Diggins-Smith who ended up getting 13 points and also being able to get 10 assists along with that as well as 3 steals. And they played, they played rather well. The biggest problem was that they did not have many people in the rotation. So all of the starters were playing like a lot of minutes, and of course, not only does that drain your fatigue, but that also drains your mental strength, and you need you need to really stay locked in these postseasons in any sport. Like, you have to be locked in. Aja Wilson ended up having another dominant performance, 24 points and 13 rebounds to finish the game. Kelsey Plume, you guys know I'm a Giants fan. I'm not a big fan of Kelsey Plume because of what happened with Darren Waller, but she ended the game with 29 points, was the leading scorer for both teams, and scored the most points in the game, 29 points, ended up shooting 11 for 15 from the field. Again, I'm not a big fan of Kelsey Plume, but still, this was a pretty good performance. Just, Darren Waller. But anyways, the rest of the team, I mean, they didn't really need the rest of the team when you have Kelsey Plume and Aja Wilson, your number 1 and your number 2 option, both almost scoring 30 points. And obviously, the better team ended up winning in this matchup, the team with the MVP and the team with the very solid second option. So that's really not really much to say about this. Like, there were no upsets, and there haven't been any upsets so far. Maybe that is most likely to change going into the games that are happening later tonight, and that leaves us into the second segment where I predict who's going to end up winning in these matchups for the WNBA playoffs that are happening at 7:30 and 9:30 respectively. So I will be right back after this short break with my predictions. Be sure to stay tuned for that.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign.
I wanna be the greatest. Everybody on the fake shit. I look around and feel like everybody is the fakest. I make this every day and I'm impatient, hoping one day I blow up from the basement. Statement, the top is so vacant. I don't hear shit that I think is amazing. Waiting for my day when I'm playing sold out shows for 1,000 faces. Hey, give me that crown. Get in my way and to be put down. It ain't your place, all this my town. If I want that shit, then I'll get it right now. I'm losing it, the noose it fits. I'm losing shit, a stupid myth. You choose to live or choose to dip. You choose to fight or lose your grip and lose a gift. Oh.
I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world blind? Please, Lord, give me a sign, a sign. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Is everybody in the world